theme of the event today? Anyone else? So, okay. So, transforming India's mobility landscape with ITS. So, connectivity vehicle is one of the vehicle for this purpose. Anyhow, we'll basically, let us begin with the lamp lighting, which is our tradition. And please, all of you, can you settle down?
Before we begin further with the program, I would like to invite Mr. Jim Misner, Mr. Bharat Bhatia, Mr. Mukesh Kumar, Mr. Jitendra Singh, Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava, Dr. Shiv Kumar, Mr. B.N. Puri, Mr. D. Sarangi, and Mr. Ankit Duggar to proceed for the lamp lighting.
Thank you, Dr. Shiv, for the nice word. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome a distinguished guest of honor, chief guest, the participants who are here from across the world, especially Jim and leaders from the Qualcomm, the whole industry, media personals. We'll be discussing whole day. I will not be, on behalf of ITS India Forum, we extend heartiest welcome to all of you. A small brief about what is ITS India Forum. Some people may not be fully aware. So ITS India Forum is a leading think tank on intelligent transport system. Our aim is to promote technology adoption into the transportation and mobility sector to reshape. The government of India is very much focused on, but the fruit has to reach. You see, the positive side is we are all very much focused, but there's some flip side as well. India tops in the road fatalities. Nearly 1.7 lakh people die on roads every year as per the official figures. Most of the cities are highly polluted and the congestion is prevalent. Bangalore, Pune, they all figure in the top 10 most congested city in the world. Logistic cost still hovers around 13 to 14%. So we are lacking somewhere. So pure building infrastructure may not be sufficing the need of the citizens of the country. So we need another layer which connects this infrastructure with the citizens, so that the benefits actually reaches to the people whom it is meant. Affordability is another issue, sustainability. So these are the things how we can address with the help of technology. That's the basically ITS India Forum think tank we do. We have members taking it forward. Now we'll be signing an MOU with Ease of Doing Business. This is an organization whose job is to do the commercial pilots. So one part is your research, which is converted into a pilot to check the technical feasibility. But the industry scaling requires funding, and funding comes when there is a commercial viability. That feasibility check, that you can say a sort of pilot, commercial pilot, is the purview of Ease of Doing Business. And so we will be signing an MOU with them in today's conference. So overall, apart from the 3 sessions, what just explained by Dr. Shiv, we'll be having 4 more things as well. 2 MOUs we are going to sign. One MOU is with 5GA. Mr. Jim is here. He represents that 5GA and heads it. It is a global organization with over 135 members in that. And they are the leaders into it. So ITS India Forum and 5G are going to sign an MOU. 2 programs today. One is we are going to launch a program, ITS Practitioner Journal. What is happening when we are talking to various institutes and the places, there is a gap, sir. The gap is based on the data collected in India. The research are done in Indian scenario, but these are published in the international journals. Unfortunately, we don't have a standard journal in India where these things can be done. So the work done in India are basically get recognition into the international journal. So I don't say that it should not be. That's fine. It should be there as well. But why can't we create something Indian journal over here? So that's the aim. So we are starting it. We have created a core team on that, headed by one of the industry leader and the academics. Professor Sikdar will also be part of that. So that's another thing which we are going to do. And as our Honorable Prime Minister say, it's a time of collaboration. So we will be collaborating with the people. We are starting another program of the capacity building with the SARC University soon. So I won't be taking much time. The people are here to listen to the experts. Once again, I welcome everyone, and I'm sure we are going to have a very fruitful and interesting, engaging session on connected vehicle. This is one of the area which can, in fact, very quickly transform most of the mobility problem, the congestion. The more people are informed, more they are connected, the vehicles, the drivers, the pedestrian, and others. I need not to emphasize more that it's going to help to solve a lot of problems. We did a study from the World Economic Forum regarding the road accidents. If the alert is given 2 seconds prior to the accident, 80% of the fatalities can be reduced. This was one study we did along with Harvard University professors through World Economic Forum. But how 2 seconds earlier information can be given? Here comes the technology. We are not the horoscope reader that we can tell this is the time of accident going to happen. But that's another advanced science. But at least technology can quickly tell it. So and AI can predict based on my behavior or the driver's behavior. So these are things which happen. So these connected vehicle, when we talk, it talks about it. So more will be listening on these and understanding. Over to you, Dr. Will. Heartiest welcome to everyone. Thank you very much.
Akhilesh sir has given you the insight that what ITS India Forum is doing. So who is empowering the ITS India? Of course, all of you. This is a forum. We are being empowered by our members. We are being empowered by our collaborators. All of you are empowering the ITS India. What we are trying to do? We are trying to build up an ecosystem which can help the government, which can help the industry, which can help all the stakeholders to come up and build a strong ecosystem in India. ITS is just the beginning in India. It's in very nascent stage. Even if you talk to anyone, most of us are not aware of what ITS can do. So throughout the day, since our theme is focused on the connected vehicle, we will focus all the experts, they will focus on the connected vehicle. I will tell you 1 or 2 milestones so that you feel that what ITS India is trying to do. We have given the activity report of the year to all of you. Maybe you may like to scan through it. We have, in a very first year of our inception, we have taken 12 of the companies, 12 of our members to the ITS World Congress in Dubai. This is the first time such that our community and the whole world have felt the strength of India. And we will continue to do that. We'll say that, you will see that how we are going to do it in the Korea also, in the May. So a lot of activities we have to do. We are a very passionate team with the experienced persons like Mr. Akhilesh and myself, and we have the youngsters with us. We are taking the interns from the college to support. We are training them and we are trying to build up. That's what we are doing. So that in the modern era of the transportation, ITS is the key which is going to make the difference. Now I will invite our co-chairman of the forum, and also he is one of the men who is known in the transportation sector. He had been to the Niti Aayog as a senior advisor of the transportation.
Thank you, Dr. Shiv. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be here as a part of this stakeholder engagement on one of the very critical component of ITS. Depending upon where you stand, if you review our transport infrastructure sector, depending where you stand, you will be elated or you will be dismayed or both at once. there is a welcome development in the past, development of National Highway Development Program, where we have 4-lane and 6-lane our infrastructure and try to modernize it. And this is a cause of rejoicing. However, there are areas of concern. And before I come to that area of concern, let me add there are other welcome developments in this field which I think are very important. Two of them is formulation and implementation of national logistic policy, and secondly, PM Gati Shakti program. This has provided a platform, and to some extent, it is linked with ITS also. But as I said, there are areas of concern. That is, we have not been able to introduce technology in our transportation sector in the form of intelligent transport system. We did it. We have in railways our reservation system. There are other areas also, but to the extent that was envisaged, that has not happened. In that context, I would like to compliment ITS team, spearheaded by Mr. Srivastava and ably supported by Dr. Shiv. They have made major strides in this direction. And that has won them accolades, which Dr. Shiv has mentioned, but also some recognition and all that. Show me the affordability and show me the strength, inherent strength in terms of not only resource mobilization, but human resource. And again, that is the ITS trying to promote. What we have is in AITD, in Asian Institute of Transport Development, we try to do these type of concern which are emerging in field of ITS. And the literature, perhaps you will know better than I do, that the return is very, very high. That cost-benefit ratio in case of ITS project varies from 3 to 5. That means every 1 rupee of investment will give you 3 rupees or 5 rupees. This is huge. But let me caution you on this regard. If you want to achieve this type of return and promote transport sector, reduce the transport cost, which is the ultimate objective of any transport policy. This is not that you have ITS for the sake of ITS. You don't have an HDP for the sake of an HDP, but you need to reduce that cost of transportation, which ultimately matters, which will make our goods competitive all over the world. And that also include economic as well as social cost. So what I want to warn you about is that there is a need for a policy, uniform policy, but uniform policy should not be absolute uniform. Then it will reduce the temptation or the initiatives for improving the technology. So that is the one constraint. Second constraint is whether we have got human resource for that purpose. Then third is whether we have resources. Then we have to ensure that it can be scaled up. Any transportation sector or communication sector, as you know very well from right from metro to mobile phones, it is the, so what ultimately have done is if do your sensitivity analysis, it turns to be negative. This is not only some achievement or some sort of thing which we have done, but if you see the literature of ITS, this is also the lessons other countries have also followed this thing, have done it. So these are the constraints we have to see and do it. But that does not sort of undermine the importance of ITS. We will achieve that and what we have thought. And actually what we have started modernization in 1998, I think with the completion of, with the introduction of ITS, we'll complete this project. We are at AITD and ITS, with both the organization I am linked up, and with the stakeholders, we'll achieve what we have set for us. The goals are very high, but we have to work hard for that with your support, and I think we have to be able to this thing. With these words, I stop here and welcome you all to this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shri Puri, for providing the perfect context for today's discussion. Now it's time for the keynote address. Let's welcome Jim Missner, Senior Director at Qualcomm.
I would like to say that the safety view in the global journey is incomplete until it's filled with an Indian slide. And the slide from India could say this is the very first region where a coalition of the willing, you, have precipitated deployment of CV2X outside of China. There is a possibility it would happen in India first before the US. I'm going to talk about the US, but we're on the precipice here, and I view this discussion that we're having today, the day-long discussion, both formal and informal, as potentially a watershed event. But right now it isn't. I'm going to talk about what I call the mostly safety problem statement, and excuse me for the informality of that, because there are benefits to CV2X, but they're primarily in safety. When I started this V2X journey, I've been doing it since 1995, the catchphrase was safety is our North Star. It still should be our North Star. The safety crash fatality problem has gotten worse, and I'll talk about that. It's particularly vexing, problematic in India, but there are other benefits once you start to solve the safety problem. Now, I'm going to talk about how CV2X work. I'm not going to talk about bits and bytes, don't worry, but after the fact, if you want me to, we can, but we've got to understand and have a common understanding of the tool that we have in order to apply the tool correctly. And then the CV2X deployment, and that's where I'll talk about the world story. Again and again, the world story without India. But maybe the next presentation will have the world story with India. I keep on harping on and indexing on that because it could happen here and it should happen. So you can see that the crash fatality problem globally, it's an epidemic. And you can see that the huge numbers in most of the regions, particularly in India, and these are official numbers. You can see China, but basically Asia, East Asia, and South Asia have because of the population and because the technologies have not applied. And then an emerging safety culture, so it's starting to gel. Now, what's interesting is you see these big numbers, you see small numbers in Japan. And in Japan, they have a Vision Zero vision. Vision Zero vision. Sorry but perhaps I should emphasize this. That means any single fatality is unacceptable. So they view this as an epidemic, despite having what seems to be a small amount, 2,678 fatalities a couple of years ago. So that's 2,678 souls, each of whom has a family. And so then you multiply it by a few orders of magnitude, you can see the issue. It's not just an epidemic from a numbers and cents point of view, dollars and cents or rupee point of view. It's an epidemic from a personal point of view for all of these. So leading cause of death of children and young adults aged 5 to 29 years. 2/3 of the people who die on our roads are working age. 90% are in low and middle income countries, and more than 50% are vulnerable road users. So put this in the context of where we are now. You can see that this is something that we need to solve soon. Now, this is how CV2X kind of works. I'm going to talk more about how it really works. But this is an enhanced intersection. This is not the only use case. This is a use case. And this could work very well in a crowded area, perhaps mid-block. And actually, all of these boxes are complementary. And I'll describe that a little bit later. But let me talk about fundamentals. You basically need territory. And so this is territory in an abstract sense. This is spectrum. And so you can see, I mean, there's a long story, and I'm not going to bore you with long stories, but if you look at the blue section, in other regions, this is the spectrum that's allocated. Why is that important? If the spectrum is nearly the same globally, has the same emission rules, generally, there is one skew, that is one type of CV2X transceiver combination that would work. So experiences in India could be translated to experiences in the US, experiences in China could be translated to experiences elsewhere, on and on. And more importantly, the global automakers can work in India, and essentially also India can think about exporting some of this because the skews are relatively the same. So it's very important to have alignment in spectrum. And I know that there's strong ITU participation in India, and I know this is a very strong So I've already leaked a little bit about how CV2X works, and some of this is repetitious, but it's really important. Remember, here I am, and then the idea of direct communication, and the idea of network communication. And the reason I index on this time and again, and this won't be the last time, maybe in the break I'll keep on talking about it, but it's really important to understand that the safety proposition is the sum of the two. And I have a video to illustrate this, but the word picture is that it's really good to have safety-related information through the network. So telematics in cars, that's happening in the new cars, it's good to have. There are aftermarket solutions. It's really essential to have that to get situational awareness. But when you come upon that other object that you might crash into, you want it to say, here I am, directly to you. You don't want it to go through network. But again, the sum of the two, you can avoid the crash in the first place, but as the crash is coming, you really want to do some action, maybe a steering, throttle, or brake action. So it's good to have that type of information. So the integrated totality is really what we want in terms of CV2X. So that's the use case, and behind that, a meta story. Let me talk, and I talked very briefly, let me just expand on this movie, which shows the complementariness of this technology. Now, this is a work zone application. Maybe I should have shown you a picture of this before, but it's easy to imagine. You have roadworks ahead, right? If you have roadworks ahead, it's really nice to see this on a head unit, basically, or in this case, the control display. The LTE, or long-range communication, provides you awareness, and as you get closer and closer, it switches to something that's reliable, not requiring any dependency on network traffic, and then you can start to alert the driver. In this particular instance, we also alerted the worker with a vest. That's fancy, but to alert the driver and is really essential. You start to address a cadre of crashes, and you start to address vulnerable road user protection in a way with today's technology. You know, tomorrow's technology, or actually many tomorrows away from now, we're going to have it in handsets. We don't have it yet. Another way to think about this is, okay, you have low market penetration, but you have a hospitable infrastructure. So in the low market or vulnerable road user protection, imagine, and you can see this, I see this walking around here, and the vanguard of traffic signal control is put a camera, right? The camera sometimes has pan, tilt, zoom, and the human looks at it and looks for traffic. That's okay, but what if you had the camera connected to a roadside unit that is a CV2X unit on the roadside? What it does is it can look at unequipped vehicles and pedestrians and then inform the few vehicles that are equipped, and all of a sudden you've jump-started this. So we're thinking about how you do this at or near intersection. It addresses VRUs and the low market penetration case, and I have a video. Very short. I said mostly safety, and this is just a little bit. You can do other things that are really important to traffic management. I know that traffic management is something that's really important in the future of India for prosperity, mobility. You could do eco-departure and warning, as I understand. In Bangalore, there has been something with emergency vehicles, but you can do the same type of technology for regular vehicles. And you can also do it on limited access roads, and you can do speed harmonization. I know it takes a bit of traffic discipline, but that traffic discipline is that if there's congestion ahead, if you know that way ahead of time, rather than seeing brake lights, you start to smooth traffic. Now, there's a lot of math behind this. This is math that I like. I'm not going to go through it here, don't worry, but hopefully intuitively you can see the ancillary benefits. Okay. Moving along, CV2X and deployment. This is a word chart, but I'm going to draw you to a US DOT, that's basically roughly the equivalent of North in India. There's a 12-year plan. Now, we in industry look at 12-year plan, and wow, that's a lifetime ahead, but it takes a lot to lift. So there are 300,000 signalized intersections in the US. So look in the blue. In the short term, 25% of those in the top 75 metros, by the way, most of the population of the US is in the top 75 metro areas, 40% by 2031, and 85% would have CV2X transceivers. Now, why can't we tell the infrastructure owner-operators exactly what messages they need to do and exactly how it should conform to specifications? So we started this. In the end, and there are words here, but you can understand the dialogue, which would happen globally, is that people don't want to be told what to do. So the infrastructure owner-operators, the local agency says, you know, we have our own day one idea, and the tolling people, and tolling with CV2X could happen. There are standards, and we can talk about that when it breaks. There's another way. So we decided there are 3 different types of day ones, but they have to be compatible. That is, we anticipate that fleets would go first, fleets, public fleets, buses, ambulances. That could happen in India too. Once the OEM starts, they start to see a hospitable environment, and more OEMs will join. But their day one is a little bit different. What types of messages can we do for all of those? And there's detail in that document. Again, I'm not going to bore you with detail. I'm going to entertain and enthrall you with things that are happening. Then also in SAE, we came up with this idea of an aftermarket safety device. How do you fill the gap? How do you start to juice the market penetration? And these sound like marketing terms, and they might change. Actually, in standards this week, we're changing them very slightly. But there's a concept of an ultralight. What that is a cheap, low cost, perfect for many markets, including this one, device that basically has a transceiver and a GNSS embedded in, and it generates the here I am by GNSS, the GPS or whatever system. So it's not connected to the car system. It's not the greatest safety device, but hey, you can start to do green waves at intersections. You can start to do other things. That's ultralight. You put in optional GNSS, a little bit more work, still aftermarket. That's a light. You start to interact with the EE system, with the CAN bus in the vehicle. You start to populate that here I am with the vehicular information. That's a little better, still light. Professional installation or retrofit, a dealer installation is a pro. This is an aftermarket path. So the OEM path is the ultimate path, but how do you get the safety on the road sooner and get the basically hospitable environment and start to show benefits here and now? Aftermarket device is how it's done. That's the US in a nutshell. That's the quickest I've ever talked about the US. China, even quicker, but perhaps more profound, because I know Bharat NCAP is a thing in India. China NCAP, obviously China, is a thing in China. There are 3 use cases. In order to get 5 stars, this is the shortest path. If you got 4 stars to 5 stars plus. So it's going to start with luxury vehicles, not a lot of points, but you can see there's an intersection use case. Actually, the other vehicle's occluded, so you really do need the radio signal. Use case number 2 is at high speeds, at long ranges. Long ranges transcends the ranges of ADAS. You still need CV2X, and then red light violation warning, the very first NCAP I've ever been involved in, I've been involved in many, that actually uses the infrastructure and integrates the NCAP. So these are carefully constructed to bring CV2X on the road with a carrot approach to vehicle OEMs, and it's starting to work. Others are just slides, and these slides are public, which means that there'll be leave-behinds, and hopefully we can get ITS India for them. But you see, in Europe, it's very complicated. So it's a lot of words and a very few pictures. But why is it complicated? Mainly because the European Commission, in all its wisdom, has a technology-neutral approach to spectrum. But that means people have to choose between technologies, and interoperability becomes a thorny point, and people start to freeze. So that's a lesson learned. Now, another lesson learned, which is positive, remember I talked about the interface to the network? You can provide information called safety-related traffic information, and there's codified into basically an ITS directive, which is a law, national access point. So you can start to provide safety information through the network. That's part of CV2X in the broad definition, by about a factor of 2 in terms of range or significantly better reliability. So remember that. Reliability can be measured in terms of packet error rate or packet reception rate. So we decided to test it. Who is we? GM, Ford, Nissan, Qualcomm. So a few years ago, we decided to test it. So this is a picture. You can see these little space-age things on the side of the road, this test track. Those are what we call super user equipment, super UE. So they emulated hundreds of other vehicles. And we had vehicles to go through. We wanted to see how well it performed in range and how well it performed in congestion. How will it perform in range? So we see line of sight, non-line of sight, and the congestion and critical events. And what you see is packet error rate. So, these are small figures, but we're getting virtually no packet error with line of sight with the proper transmission power of over 900 meters. Perfectly fine. Remember, we're going 30 meters a second. That's more than enough. We're getting packet error rates in this non-line of sight intersection over 300 meters. Who drives that fast at intersections? So the conclusion was this is perfectly fine technology. The calculations, the standardization, it works. Congestion control, that's more complicated. I don't want to describe complicated math here right now, but we just wanted to see if the onset of the congestion control protocol would work. US DOT decided that they wanted to do it themselves. They did it with larger numbers and got the same results. So industry and government said, this is perfectly fine technology. In fact, it's great technology to broadcast those here I am types of signals. So the key takeaways, last slide, is that CV2X can enhance safety for all users. I hope that I've made the point here. CV2X supports direct communication between vehicles, road infrastructure, and eventually pedestrians that are complemented by cellular network. It's not one or the other, it's one and the other. Technology is proven, ready for deployment. I would say collaboration and momentum for CVX continues to grow, and I'm so happy to be experiencing it here and now. And that industry resources available. I noticed that in this room, there are lots of India-based companies, representatives, and engineers who are actually on the vanguard of exporting that knowledge. And let's not necessarily just export that knowledge, let's apply it to here. Those industry resources are even here during the break. But basically there is momentum, and I'm hoping that I've instilled in you that we can work together and continue the momentum to a successful crossing the finish line. So that's what I have, and hopefully I've entertained you and informed you.
Thank you, Jim. Really, it was so comprehensive, and you have given the insight into the V2V, V2I, V2P, all the that how it will be transforming or how it will be bringing the road safety. But yeah, really, thank you very much for giving the full insight.
Thank you, sir, for such an immaculate and informative discourse in vehicle and road safety, and for highlighting how CV2X informs safety and critical mobility benefiting applications. Thank you so much.
Now, to deliver the message of our Honorable Minister, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, I would like to invite Shri Akhilesh Srivastava, President of the ITS India Forum, to read it out.
Thanks, Arjun. I am very happy to share that ITS India Forum, actually it's patronized by all having full support of the government. We closely work with the Niti Aayog on drafting we are helping them to draft national ITS policy. And our Honorable Minister, he is a very tech-savvy person. When I was with the Fast Track, I know since time you must have heard him at various forums. He all very passionate about technology. When I met him, requested for this, he was very keen to come here and be here, but due to some of course, he has plenty of other more critical, important duties, so he couldn't come, but he sent his message. And I am glad to read it. I am happy to read it, his message. He says, I am glad to know that Intelligent Transport System ITS, a think tank committed to advancing ITS in India, is hosting a landmark event on the Connected Vehicles Stakeholders Meet, CVS, on 29 January 2025 at Le Méridien, New Delhi, which is aimed at exploring the cutting-edge advancement and transformative potential in shaping the future of mobility landscape. As we know, India stands at the threshold of a mobility revolution, striving to redefine its transportation systems while prioritizing the safety and well-being of its citizens. In this transformative journey, ITS technologies emerges as a cornerstone, addressing challenges such as traffic congestion, high accident rates, and pressing need of sustainable mobility solutions. This event will therefore go on a long way in furthering and highlighting the importance of ITS technologies and inspire all stakeholders in advancing road safety and logistic efficiency. I congratulate the organizers of the event and wish them all success in their endeavors in highlighting the importance of ITS technologies in nation building and encouraging collective efforts towards an efficient and safe transportation ecosystem. Jai Hind, Shri Nitin Gadkari. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. It is now my honor to invite Shri Bharat Bhatia, President of ITU ABT Foundation of India, to share his thoughts. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to all of you. It's a great pleasure for me to share my thoughts on this historic day, I must say, because I think this is a journey that we should have started long back, but I think this is the right time. Intelligent transportation system is really a kind of need of this country. We should have gone in this long back, but I think this is the right time. I'm currently working as the president and head of ITU APT Foundation of India. As some of you may be knowing, ITU is the International Telecommunication Union, which is the UN organ for all IT and telecommunication related matters. The Working Party 5D that I talked about, which is responsible for development of the mobile technology standards, and I chair the working group on one of the important working groups there, which recently completed the development of this CV2X report, which is providing a global basic standard for connectivity for all the vehicles, and worked very closely with Qualcomm and others in preparing that global standard for CV2X. And I'm happy to say that Indian government has also gone ahead and also implemented the spectrums that is needed for CV2X for intelligent transportation system. And with that kind of spectrum availability in 5.9 gigahertz and the technology that has been developed, I think it is right time for India to start implementing this in a big way. And from ITU APT side, our aim in the ITU field is to make India as a big part of ITU standards. And this is very important. We all live in the city of Delhi with the high levels of pollution. I'm sure ITS can cut this pollution in a big way. Just simply making sure that the vehicles stand for the least time on the roads, on the red lights. By just making those red lights intelligent itself will save the country millions of tons of fuel, but also make it less polluted. So there are a number of things that ITS can deliver. It's a question of joint effort, and I'm very happy to see this stakeholders meeting starting in this. I, from behalf of ITU APT Foundation of India, fully commit myself to work with the ITS forum and organization and make sure that India's voice is heard at the UN level, at the ITU level, and we work together in promoting these standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shri Bharat Bhatia, for highlighting the importance of global effort on road safety and meeting the global mobile technology standards in India. I now invite Mr. Mukesh Kumar, Deputy Director General at DOT, to share his insights. Sir, the stage is yours.
Esteemed dignitaries of the dais, the learned participant in the hall, it is indeed a pleasure to be part of this stakeholder meet. On behalf of Department of Telecom, I would like to congratulate ITS India Forum to organize this meet and such an important theme of transforming India's mobility landscape with intelligent transport system. So all the interested parties here, organization, I would call upon, request you to be part of that deliberation in National Working Group. So with this, I would again like to express my wish to have a grand success for today's and ensuing endeavor in making this happen so that the mobility experience of general citizen improves like anything. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shri Mukesh Kumar, for your enlightening address. It is now my honor to invite Mr. Ankit Duggar, Director Motor Vehicle, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. I hand it over to you, sir.
Good morning to all the distinguished guests and valued stakeholders. And initially, the meet was to be attended by Additional Secretary, sir, but due to a pressing engagement, he wasn't able to join. So he deputed me instead. So I'd like to inform about the details. So first of all, again, a good morning, and it's an immense privilege to be part of such a esteemed gathering and to deliberate upon such an important subject here. And I would, at the outset, I would like to congratulate ITS India Forum for taking this initiative and bringing together all the stakeholders on a common platform, which will help further modernize our transportation sector and dwell upon this important topic. And the mobility and the transport industry is, everybody you are aware of, that it is undergoing a substantial transition, and we are moving towards a safer, cleaner kind of a mobility ecosystem. Like we are here, the fuels, the conventional fuels are being replaced by CNG and recently the electric part, and we have to increase the energy efficiency in the transportation sector. Similarly, the demand for transportation is increasing day by day, and we are a fast developing nation committed to be becoming a Viksit Bharat and developed nation by 2047. And because of the rising disposable incomes, greater connectivity, there is a greater need for this penetration of transportation sector, and we have to be future ready for it. The test cases and the presentation which was shown, it clearly spelled out that it will result in better roads, safe roads, the flow traffic can be optimized, the seamless movement of transportation for goods as well as people can be achieved if CV2X is properly rolled out on a pan-India basis. Initially, it's a nascent concept, and the Western countries are actively participating in this. So we have to also make a part of the Indian mobility ecosystem and customize it to our challenges and our typical standards and our specific requirements, which are different than the Western countries. And we have some frequency band which are globally being used, and we are in discussion with the DOT to how to de-license the bands of the 5.9 gigahertz which are prevalent in Europe, USA, Japan, Korea. Japan is, although I think, using a different kind of a frequency band, but to be globally competitive as well as to suit the Indian standards and Indian infrastructure, we are identifying this 5.9 gigahertz band, and I think the National Frequency Allocation Plan has already in 2022 notified that band that will be used for the CV2X and intelligent transportation systems. So, and again, I think it aligns with the UNEC WP29 also for the cyber security and software management part also. So I would, as a policymaker, we have to establish frameworks for this connectivity part. We require the industry leaders to drive the investment in the connected vehicle ecosystem, and academia and researchers to provide this innovative solution and bring us to a common platform so that we can achieve this part. So I'll again thank ITS and congratulate you on your success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duggar, for your valuable insights into the connected vehicle landscape. We now invite our chief guest, Shri D. Sarangi, Special Secretary and Director General, Ministry of Road, Transport and Highways, to address the gathering. Sir, the stage is yours.
Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all of you and namaskar. As we all know, road transport is the most dominant mode of transport in the country, and the share of both goods and passenger traffic on roads have been increasing since initially after independence, railways was the dominant mode for goods, but we have overtaken them since long back. Having a modest length of, say, around 34,000 kilometer national highways some 34 years back when I joined central government service, it has now gone up to 1,46,000 kilometer. In the country, including national highways, national expressways and state expressways, we have roughly 4,200 kilometer high-speed access-controlled highways or expressways at the moment. And there are some thoughts to increase this high-speed corridor network to around 50 kilometers in next 20 to 25 years. So that would be a very quantum jump, providing something like a high-speed corridor on any part of the country within a distance of, say, 100 kilometers. To start with road safety, all of us know how badly we are positioned. The fatalities number alone exceeding 1,70,000 last year. In spite of all our efforts, somehow this is one area where we have not been successful. Although we have very high-speed corridors, particularly in the rural sections, but urban areas, including highways within the jurisdiction of cities and municipal limits, still suffer from large-scale congestion. Government has been taking a lot of proactive steps to improve the logistic efficiency, but still we have to achieve more. Somehow we have been on national highways, particularly on important corridors. We have been discussing about ATMS providing something here and there, but there has not been very serious effort, nor we have gained something very substantially from the use of this ATMS. So while developing these platforms, this technology, I would urge upon all to keep in mind few things, the way road infrastructure functions in the country, because all the road authorities are at the moment dependent upon contractors and consultants for managing the should fit into that. Otherwise, we have seen many technologies are coming, but somehow it has not been properly grounded, and by the time it comes to be, then maybe there is further development, and ultimately we don't get any tangible benefits. The another important thing is any technology straight brought from outside might not serve our interest. It must factor in the human behavior that we foresee. So friends, I told in the beginning, I am not an expert on ITS, otherwise there could have been other aspects of pavement that I could have been talking about. But it is for sure this has substantial use for us. We have been transforming. When we joined in service, road infrastructure, we are thinking of pavement, shoulder, embankment, bridges, culverts, drain, that much. Maybe in urban areas, something extra, but in the rural sections, these comprised of all the components of highways. I wish all the success for this workshop. Definitely in the government, we are very, very supportive of this idea, and will definitely encourage more and more incorporation of ITS in our highway system and other roads. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarangi sir, for gracing the occasion as a chief guest of the function. And we are really motivated that you have offered that we'll be collaborating. We are working in a basically in a very cohesive manner in order to basically propagate the ITS into the India. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening speech. It's always been a pleasure to hear India astound to great heights of industrial development.
We now witness a landmark moment, the MOU signing between ITS India Forum and the 5G Automotive Association. This partnership aims to foster innovation in connected transportation, focusing on technologies like cellular V2X, 5G, and autonomous driving, while promoting knowledge sharing, standardization, and policy advocacy. I now invite Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava and Jim Meissner to sign the MOU and kindly exchange the files.
India's premier think tank for intelligent transportation systems to shape a smarter, safer and more inclusive mobility future. Now may I request Dr. Shiv Kumar to honor Jim Meissner and D. Sarangi. Thank you, sir.
The Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, IETE, they are, it was set up in the 1953. It's a year-old organization. And incidentally, I am the vice president of the institution on the governing board, and also I had the technical programs committee, and we are organizing. Let me invite Anu Bajaj to share some information.
Good morning to all the delegates. I am Anu Bajaj from the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers. Dr. Shiv Kumar is Director General ITS, is the Chairperson of Technical Programs Committee and Vice President of IET. I'm here to inform you all about the IT's 56th Midterm Symposium and International Conference, which is scheduled on 26th and 27th April 2025 on the theme Smart Mobility Systems. The brochure of the event will be placed on your table for your reference.
Our plenary session focuses on how connected vehicles can revolutionize road safety, tolling, congestion, and driving intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to our distinguished panel of experts who will now grace the stage with their insightful perspectives. I would like to invite Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava, President of ITS India Forum, Mr. Abhijit Sinha, Program Director, Ease of Doing Business, and Project Director, NHEV. I would now like to invite Professor Puran Chandra Pandey, Chair, Interdisciplinary Center of Excellence on Climate Change, Green Transition and Sustainability, Mr. Santosh Sam Koshi, E-Scientist, CDAC, Hyderabad, Dr. Madhusudan Joshi, Head Technology and Business, ICAT, Mr. Anil Shikara, former Deputy Commissioner, Transport Department, Government of Delhi. And lastly, Mr. Vijay Kumar TA, Chief Executive Officer, India Northern Communication. And I would also like to invite Mr. Ajay Mishra, President Commissioner of Uttarakhand Government and Secretary Expert Committee on UCC. Could we please give them, our panel members, a huge round of applause?
Once again, warm welcome to participants, the dignitaries on dais. When we talk about V2X connected vehicle, how is going to make impact to a common person, to a common industry person, what benefits government is thinking is going to create for the ecosystem. To create, talking about reshaping the mobility is a jargon, it can be a keyword. But how actually it's going to happen, that's what our experts will be discussing here. They will be sharing their thoughts. We are ITS India Forum, we are as a think tank, we are promoting a lot of innovative technologies, promoting research and doing the ground pilot also to validate that technology whether it's actually doable in India or no. The change which we thought here will not copy-paste what the technology is available globally as it is, but it has to be Indianized, it has to be contexted to the Indian scenario, Indian geographical, political and social conditions. And then for that we require some piloting of those things. So that's what we are doing. We are facilitating one green corridor project at Bangalore, where using the CV2X technology. So it's validated, but mere technical validation may not go in a long way. So what it has to be, for scaling, it has to be a sustainable model, where financial institutions come, they find out whether it is doable or not. So here we are collaborating with ease of doing business to do a commercial pilot and check whether feasibility works out or no, or it's just a utopian plan. So it's going to be a very interesting discussions in the plenary. It's because of shortage time, we are not going deeper into any subject, because for that you require every presentation to be at least 40 minutes. So without taking much time, I will request Mr. Ajay Mishra to start with.
First of all, I'd like to thank ITS and its president, Dr. Akhilesh Srivastava, for inviting me here. As Dr. Akhilesh has already shared, that we had worked together when I was with National Highways Authority, and we were working as a team when we implemented the electronic toll collection. So that was my first interaction of technology being used for improvement in road infrastructure and mobility. Therefore, what I see, because all of you are here and must be doing lot of important things on ICT, on connected technologies. But I personally believe that the connected vehicles, though, are very important and they are going to facilitate in the road safety. They are going to improve reduce the logistic cost, which accounts approximately from 12 to 14% of our GDP cost as on date, by reducing the fuel emissions, ensuring the rerouting, real-time data sharing, ensuring that there is an ease of movement. NHI has already, or MORTH has already progressed from fixed tolling to global GPS-based tolling. But having said all those things, one thing which I would like to flag, because I'm not an expert on connected technology, but one thing which is very common for all technology interventions is the security aspects. Connected technologies connected vehicles means somebody is going to speak to the other vehicle through some medium. Now that medium should not be intrusive, should not be easily breached. With the current scenario of cyber attacks and cyber crimes that are happening across the nation and across the world, the lives of the passengers are of paramount importance when we float the concept of connected vehicles. So I am sure that connected vehicles are going to help us in road safety. They will help us in improvement the logistic ecosystem or mobility. Two things which are very important are, first is the data encryption. When one vehicle talks to another vehicle, how well it has been encrypted so that there is no breach. Second is the messaging and the intrusion detections, that it is non-intrusive, it is not able to be easily violated or breached, because then it's a potent weapon in the hands of any antisocial element to really create a havoc on the cities. Today, Dr. Sarangi was saying that in spite of a closed expressway, Delhi-Meerut expressway, we find pedestrians coming and crossing over the carriageway and coming onto the main street. Now with connected vehicle, autonomous vehicles, where there is no element of human intervention or human interface, it will be very difficult to manage these kind of challenges when we bring them on the road. So therefore, again, the technology has to be in such a manner that it is able to capture these kind of, I would say, externalities, so that the passenger safety and the concept is not being targeted or impediment by these externalities. And lastly, before I conclude, I would like to once again thank ITS and would love to hear from all the experts, because it will be a great fascinating experience for me also in terms of learning and how we can then take these experiences, learning and use cases to replicate in our state or at the national level and bring more comfort, safety, as well as smooth driving for domestic passengers, as well as for the fleet owners, commercial carriages, and improving the entire ecosystem of logistics and mobility. Thank you so much.
We are having with us Head of Technology and Business, ICAT, Dr. Madhusudan Joshi. I'll request Dr. Joshi to say a few words on this.
So the topic which I saw is to speak about what role the connected vehicles are going to play in improving the situation as far as the road safety is concerned, what it will do for the tolling, which we are talking nowadays. A lot of discussions on improving the tolling process. Then about the driving intelligence, what improvement it's going to bring in the driving intelligence. As we all know that the vehicles today are more of IoT devices, right? And they are more of IoT devices. That means they are going to connect to the outside world. They are going to connect to the other vehicles. They are going to connect to the roadside infrastructure. They are going to connect to the back-end servers. There are going to be a lot of payments happening through, your vehicle infrastructure itself, which is, for example, tolling or maybe for the parking lots. So, it will have a lot of your personal data, a lot of your, other information, as a part of the system, which is going to be exposed to the outside world. So talking one by one, let's say starting with road safety. The connected vehicle, is while moving on the road, is in continuous touch with the vehicles running around it. It is the ideal situation when the connected vehicle is moving on the road. It will be connected to the other vehicles. It will be connected to the roadside infrastructure. It will be remotely, connected to the backend servers. We're going to send data, receive data, and also to GSM towers, also to the GPS, systems. So all these are going to be a part of the connected vehicles. Now talking about the road safety part, as Akhilesh ji has already mentioned, that ICAT and institutions like ICAT are responsible to set up regulations, set up the regulatory roadmap for all these topics. Road, that pricing will be different. When you are driving on a lean traffic time, that pricing will be different. Similarly, the connected vehicle technology is also going to improve the efficiency of collection of toll, right? And what is your waiting time at a toll gate, for instance. So all these, all these aspects will be addressed once you have a good level of automation or a connected vehicle technology in place, which we are going to, which are trying to assume that in Indian context will be a level 2 of automation, which is fairly a good solution for the Indian condition. And we will see a very big advancement in the tolling as well, as far as the connected vehicles are concerned. Talking about the congestion part, I think CDEC is also working on this technology that's called Intelligent Traffic Management System, where again we are talking about how to optimize the traffic flow in the urban environment, primarily because traffic is more of a problem in the urban environment. So how to manage the traffic in a city in a very intelligent manner. How to reroute the vehicles if there is a congestion at what point. How to optimize the traffic, how to optimize the lane change, how to optimize the other aspects of traffic. So these will be possible only when there is a V2X communication. So vehicle is communicating with vehicle is communicating with the roadside infrastructure, and the car knows in advance that on this route there is a huge congestion, so they have to take an alternate route. So that guidance will come automatically, and we'll have with that level 2 automation in the vehicles. The vehicle will be guided on the best route, which is most decongested, and that is how the traffic. How a driver is, how many times he is driving rash on the road, how many times he has violated the signal, how many times he has been drunk. All those driving patterns can be captured on a backend server, and that data is readily available for any enforcement agency to keep a track of a given driver or keep a track of a given vehicle. So this is one of the possibility of the when you say driver intelligence. Also, there is a possibility to do remote diagnostics of the vehicles. The vehicle is running on the road. When I have driving car, I am not aware what is going wrong with my car. what can happen to my car or a given car system maybe after 5 days from now. So there will be a predictive remote diagnostics that will be possible through this technology, because vehicle is continuously communicating with the backend, and there is a data available which can be analyzed remotely or through the tools like artificial intelligence to predict that there could be a possibility of this failure in this car maybe after 10 days from now or from 15 days. That depends upon how advanced AI algorithms we deploy, but that is a possibility. Now, the biggest challenge which Mr. Mishra has also touched, I will try to come to these challenges. The challenges are, in my opinion, 4 big challenges which I can foresee. The first one is, which is already talked about, data security and data privacy. Now, data security we are trying to address because we have already rolled out 2 regulations which are there in place already, which are based on the European regulations. If I remember the numbers correctly, AIS 188 and 189. There are 2 regulations which are already there for cyber security management system and software update management system, because over the air update is going to be a very big thing which is going to happen. Every now and then, the system providers, vehicle OEMs are going to update their systems. So these are certain challenges which are there, but technology definitely is coming for rescue. We have very soon we have full-fledged 5G available to us, and that will try to solve the problems of latency and speed of communication. Similarly, we will have very strong AI backbone where we will be able to predict a lot of things and we will be able to do a good job. Then something called edge computing, where a lot of system itself can do a lot of decision making, or maybe you don't have to transmit the data to a far end and then wait for the communication to come back to you. So all these new technology things will come for rescue for sure. So I would say the future is positive and very bright as far as connected vehicle is concerned, and we should gear up for all this, and we should adopt this technology embrace the technology rather in a very big way. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have a paucity of time, so we'll straightway come to Mr. Anil Chikara. He is a former Deputy Commissioner of Transport Department, Government of Delhi. How he perceive connected vehicle and what shape it's going to take.
Thank you, Akhilesh ji. And Akhilesh ji and me have been meeting at a lot of platforms, and we keep on meeting in Ministry of Road Transport meetings, and we have a big deliberation about the futuristic technology driven mobility. And because our Madhusudan Joshi was mentioning about the regulatory part, yes, I will be confining my session to regulatory part only. And thereafter, Ministry of Road Transport as well as state government started using GPS, and so Honorable Supreme Court had also mandated the passenger vehicles to use the GPS, and we started our things with the DIMS. It is only one state, Uttarakhand. Sir, it is your state only who has established 3C for the vehicles. Because under the leadership of Mishra ji and their team, they have established, but that has not been, Transport Department has not been able to connect, install all protocols of VLTD. So that is not being used much, and NIC is there to promote the technology support. But when I talk about Delhi, so Delhi had been a leader of technology implementation, and they were the first one to get VLTD installed on their commercial vehicles. But and I know, because I was handling this project, and I started a lot of effort to establish 3C, Control Command Center. But they want to get their posting in thanas, police stations. Why should they track the vehicles? They have no interest. And without a police control room, we cannot use the connectivity in case of panic button. 112 is there, and it means that there is a panic button which can alarm to police and other agencies that the passenger is in trouble. But without control room, you can't expect anything. and the things which had been made. One is device manufacturers, another is telecommunication agency, BSNL or Airtel, then third one is operator, DIMS, and lastly traffic police, transport department, and so many agencies. So they are not able to be united. So we need, first of all, because I request Akhilesh ji to form a committee which can rectify the AIS 140 norms. They use the ITS so perfectly. And one more thing, interestingly, around 10 years back, the IT department was merged to the transport department, I mean LTA. So the entire IT sector, because transport department has got the maximum potential to use IT services. So that should also be part of it. And let us form another agency called LTA in India so that all stakeholders are integrated. So our future lies with the good regulation, and I look forward best that this ITS India Forum will make highest level of regulation to India so that we can be master, and public and other country may learn from us, from this dedicated team. Thank you very much.
So we have an industry expert with us, Vijay Kumar TA. He is the Chief Executive Officer, Northern Communications. Vijay, over to you.
Good afternoon all. It's a really honor and privilege to be here to join such a distinguished dignitaries and all the expert learners and the speakers. And it is really, as a OEM, Northern as a OEM, we are very delighted to join hands with ITS Forum India. So I'm sure this initiative by ITS Forum definitely going to improve the transport system, bringing all the stakeholders together, and definitely going to save many lives for India. Then only the people, once people are safe and peace, only they can give, they can be more productive and contribute for India's growth. As you know, India is in a remarkable growth trajectory. Our economy is expanding, our population is growing, our cities are more growing at a very unprecedented pace. However, the growth demands comes with the pressing need of enhancing safety and security. In today's world, where technology is advancing rapidly, the challenge lies in integrating these advancements into urban planning and management. We must embrace the smart city concepts where technology acts as a backbone of safety and efficiency. The advanced surveillance and real-time data analytics are key to monitoring and managing the urban spaces. With integration of IoT and AI machine technology learning, edge technologies, our cities can be more productive and responsive, ensuring that every decision is informed by accurate and up-to-date real data. Yes, Mr. Srivastava said that 2 minutes data, it's bring down real data, bring down the fatality rate by 50%. And this is not about safety, it is about creating an urban environment that is efficient, livable, and ready for the future. See, a few solutions are Norden's global shutter cameras, designed to highway monitor and superior image quality and motion clarity. And even the fast-moving vehicles, the vehicles up to 220 kilometers speed can detect the what violations, what kind of violations are doing, helmetless driving, seatless driving, and we have integrated ANPR solutions, automatic number plate recognitions, capable of detecting all kind of road violations, overspeeding, red light jumping, and wrong line driving. Thermal cameras for tunnel monitoring, and these thermal cameras can cover up to 20 kilometers, identify objects moving and all the things we can do. The PTZ cameras, it can capable of zooming long range, short term, up to 800 meters, laser capabilities. And we have advanced VMS and ITMS software platforms, smart traffic analytics, real-time monitoring and incident management. And we have specialist solutions for diverse environment, ADAS, and we have a global collaborations and expertise, as Norden is in 42 countries. The journey towards a safer and smarter cities with an intelligent traffic environment is a collective effort. It requires a collaboration and innovation and shared vision for a better future. Norden Communication is part of this journey and providing the technology and expertise needed to make our cities more safer and intelligent. I look forward to insightful discussions and collaborations that undoubtedly emerge from this event. Together, let us build a safer and smarter and greener future for all of us. Thank you.
आप सबको नमस्कार। मेरे पास परिचय के दो विकल्प हैं, एक जो भी काम किया हो उसके बारे में बात करूं, और दूसरा 2014, 2019, 2024 ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस वहाँ से जहाँ शुरुआत हुई थी और अब ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस की वर्ल्ड बैंक रैंकिंग से आगे बढ़कर कारोबार में ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस लाने तक कैसे पहुँचा उसके बारे में बात करूँ। 2014 से पहले अगर कोई बाहर जाता था, अमेरिका, यूरोप, जापान, बेल्जियम, फ्रांस, कहीं भी कोई अच्छी टेक्नोलॉजी देखता था और उसको वापस यहाँ लाके इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाहता था, तो उसको स्टैंडर्ड्स, प्रोक्योरमेंट, सर्टिफिकेशन, टेस्टिंग, फाइनेंसिंग, कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ फंडिंग एजेंसीज़, 1 दर्जन ऐसे इश्यूज़ आते थे जिसके लिए या तो वो बीच में ही छोड़ देता था कि भाई मेरे से नहीं होगा, या विदेशी कंसल्टेंट अपॉइंट किए जाते थे, क्योंकि कंपनी बनाना, उसके टैक्स और उसके रिफॉर्म्स और जीएसटी, उसके लिए एक फॉर्मल विंग डीपीआईटी में ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस की ऑलरेडी है। इत्तेफाक से मैं उसका प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर हूँ। अच्छा है कि बुरा है वो आप लोग बताएंगे। 2013 में जो एटीट्यूड था कि तुमसे नहीं हो पाएगा इस तरह की एम्बिशियस टेक्नोलॉजी, 2070 तक नेट ज़ीरो डीकार्बोनाइजेशन ऑफ सरफेस ट्रांसपोर्ट, कंप्लीट जियो स्पेशलाइजेशन, इंडस्ट्रियल ऑटोमेशन एंड देयर डिजिटाइजेशन। हर जगह दर्जन भर स्टोरीज ऐसी हैं जहां सिर्फ टेक है और टेक है। हमारी इकोनॉमिक कैपेबिलिटी, हमारी स्ट्रेंथ टेक्नोलॉजी के एडॉप्शन पे डिपेंड करती है। लॉजिस्टिक की बात करें, रिडक्शन ऑफ लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट, आवर जीडीपी स्पेंड फ्रॉम 14% to 9% पूरा टेक पे डिपेंड करता है। डीकार्बोनाइजेशन ऑफ सरफेस ट्रांसपोर्ट पूरा टेक पे डिपेंड करता है। अभी जब इकोनॉमी की बात होती है तो सिर्फ 2 कैलकुलेशन निकल के आते हैं, या तो हम 2047 तक, अपने 100 साल तक $35 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी होंगे। कैलकुलेशन आपने मुझसे पहले भी सुना होगा, परचेजिंग पावर के ऊपर बेस्ड है, जहां 2000 साल के बाद पैदा होने वाला हर एक बच्चा करीब करीब $1,20,000 अपनी लाइफ टाइम में खर्च करता है। आप 2047 की अपनी पॉपुलेशन से मल्टीप्लाई कर लो, जो 168 करोड़ होगी। यू विल गेट $35 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी एट 2047। सो एवरी इमर्जिंग टेक टू बी प्रोटोटाइप्ड एंड टू बी कमर्शियली प्रोटोटाइप्ड for their mass deployment. Second collaboration is, this collaboration is also aimed to facilitate assessment among available global alternatives backed by gathering of leadership intent, क्योंकि आपकी intent है तो content बनेगा तो extent आएगा. An outcome which is evidence based for policy making of tomorrow, and it also brings standards, models, specification, certification and possible procurement models for financing it on Pan India. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks very much. I will request quickly Mr. Santosh.
Very good afternoon to all of you all. I hope I don't consume too much of time keeping you away from your lunch, which is probably scheduled in the next 15 minutes or 10 minutes. I'll try to be as brief as possible. And in fact, I am very happy to be part of this because I remember way back in 23, November, we had conducted a similar event as part of one of the projects we were implementing to bring on board all the stakeholders that are relevant to this specific technology, connected vehicles, specifically the V2X. And we take up a lot of R&D in cutting-edge technology areas, developing indigenous technologies, both in the hardware and the software side of things, to solve problems that are relevant to our country. Now, we started this journey with V2X probably 2012, 2013, during that time, when there was a technology called DSRC, Dedicated Short Range Communication. We first piloted that using hardware that we procured from outside. We developed the technology in-house at CDAC. And thereafter, we moved towards connected vehicles, the 5G CV2X spectrum and stack, and developed the same kind of technology also for the V2X standard as part of our product services or research. And right now, we're happy to state that we've also offered this technology as a transfer of technology indigenously to Zero Sum India Private Limited. So this technology is available for Indian companies to take and to pursue use case applications. You identify three categories of applications that are generally coming up. If you look at the infrastructure side of applications, V2I, it's more from the traffic management per se, where you see how the V2X technology can simplify congestion problems. You can simplify emergency vehicle prioritization, the ambulances moving through or VIP vehicles moving through, as well as the flow problems of optimizing the right time at which the green corridors are created or the signal is shifted. Essentially, that is one use case that the world over is looking at, traffic management from a vehicle to infrastructure kind of perspective. Thinking about it from an Indian perspective, so what are our problems that we would like to solve as far as the technology is concerned? So if we talk about the vehicle to infrastructure problems, we've all been talking about toll, and I feel, yeah, toll is definitely that potential application which India should kind of look at, because it will be in a sense, a niche that we are bringing up. What is the problem that we are struggling with? Probably we are struggling with congestion at the toll gates, especially during selective parts of the year. And here's a technology which is more or less barrierless. It's more or less gantry-free kind of a technology. Tells the infrastructure that I'm going down, and the infrastructure kind of communicates that information back, probably through a network of other infrastructure devices, to a vehicle that is probably a couple of kilometers or 2 kilometers away. So that kind of an application will at least reduce the fatality problem. So that is something that we should, in my opinion, kind of look at. Again, when you talk about B2B, it's obviously going to be related to the collision avoidance. But there are interesting use cases like platooning, where you can schedule how the highway is being used, at what time it is being used, and if this kind of information is shared with vehicles around or with people who are planning a journey, they can probably better optimize on the fuel consumption and get savings. So that's another interesting V2B kind of a use case with a V2I backhaul that can be provided. The other point that was also discussed about here, and it's a very important topic, is related to security. Now, while we essentially talk about confidentiality, we talk about integrity of the messages that are transacting between two stray elements. What is important and what is heartening to know from the standards perspective, the way it implements privacy is it allows you to expand the key in that certificate through a mechanism called butterfly key expansion. So one public key can be expanded into about 10 public keys. And these certificates, these separate certificates now have either a geographical region of importance or relevance. They have a time-based region of relevance and things like that. So what it does is it brings in an element of privacy also into your communication, so that you're not really worried if there are eavesdroppers that are snooping onto the data as you commute and exchange data with other foreign vehicles. So the technology is here. It is available for us to use and to consume. What we probably need as a nation today is use cases or success stories or data that is generated from within the country. Build prototypes, build pilots that are sizable, generate data sets, and then standardize that data sets of how this communication should happen within the country. So I think all of us have an important role to play. And as a research and developer from an R&D organization, we are very happy to be part of this kind of a showcase. And we would like to extend all the support that is required from CDAC, either in terms of providing the technology support, as well as strengthening the standards perspective or the certification aspects that this technology will bring forth. So thank you very much, and thanks for the patient listening.
I have only two critical issues to talk about. One, the goals which India has set are threefold goals. One, we have to reduce our CO2 by 2030. We have to scale up our renewable energy by 500 gigawatt. And thirdly, we will be net zero by 2070. So these are three commitments which our PM has made to the global community, which is to the UN. Now, how do you look at it? It is being looked at only from the point of view of human well-being, which is the center of all the 17 sustainable development goals. Figure number 2 is our fatality on the road. 1.7 million people die every year because of accidents on the road. It is not a number which is in any way going to indicate the well-being of people. So these are the kind of running data which are not in favor of a country like India, which is growing at 8%, and we want to be 35 trillion and 50 trillion and so on and so forth. What do we really need to do about it? Which is 25 million people. It is a country which can rival any city on the earth. The per capita is 87,000 USD, 3 times more than that of China. But the government is trying to put the well-being of people up in front. And they have been trying to locate the well-being of the people to this sector, which means that they have tried to interconnect costs, technology. We have to be very central, very focused, and see to it as to how do we really put the well-being of the people at the center of every policy that we try to work on. So I'm thankful to Akhilesh for inviting me, and I'm very sorry that I could not speak very well, because I'm a prof and my job is to speak. If I don't speak, I feel bad about it. But nonetheless, I'm happy that I could say what I wanted to say, and thank you so much, ITS.
Now we'll be having an EOD, with EODB, the MOU signing exchange ceremony, and then there is a launch of.
May I request to exchange the MOU, please?
South Asia takes a leap towards smarter transportation with ITS capacity building initiatives. A historic MOU between South Asian University and ITS partners paves the way for innovation and collaboration. From advanced training at AITD to PR breakthroughs and impactful media coverage, this journey is shaping the future of intelligent transportation. Building capacity, transforming mobility, together we move smarter.
May I now request Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava, President of the ITS India Forum, to honor our distinguished guest, Mr. Ajay Mishra.
He has done. So it is in the recognition of the Mr. Ajay ji. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the great work you have done. Mahmood Ahmad sir, who is Additional Secretary North. He is already here. We have Chitranshi sir, and we have the officers from DOT, Mr. R.S. Singh. We have from the BIS, Mitra Sen Verma. We have Commander Mukesh Saini, former National Information Security Coordinator, PMO. So I'll request one by one. May I request Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava to escort the Sri Mahmood Ahmad sir, Additional Secretary North. Please. Now I request Mr. R.S. Singh, DDG Telecom, Department of Telecommunication, Ministry of Communication. Mr. Puneet Rathod, Dr. Puneet Rathod from the Qualcomm, who is the lead for the standards. Mr. Mitra Sen Verma, scientist from the Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS. Commander Mukesh Saini, NCSC, former NCSC from the PMO. CA Pooja Khemka, CEO and co-founder, Tech Now Private Limited. Professor Archak Mittal, Assistant Professor IIT Mumbai. A.R. Chitranshi sir, Chief Operating Officer of the IHMCL. And the session will be moderated by S. Velumurugan, Dr. S. Velumurugan, the Chief Scientist from the CSIR CRRI. Since we have the Additional Secretary, sir, so may I request you, sir, to moderate the session and chair the session, please?
So shall we start?
Sir.
Okay. Welcome everybody to this session of discussions. I think it's a connected vehicles stakeholder meet. First of all, my apologies. I think I was invited for the morning inaugural session, but quite obviously a couple of meetings came up and I could not make it in the morning half. Transforming India's mobility and road safety. So I can trust that Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava will always pick up the most pertinent topic and something which is very relevant to today's, today's landscape entirely. Be it the safety features, be it the features where we are looking at reducing emissions, how we can cut down vehicular pollution. Everything is undergoing a change and at a scale which has not been witnessed. We saw, for instance, fossil fuels for many, many decades. Who would have guessed before the start of this current, maybe this decade? I would first of all make this point that all these are interrelated. When we are talking of making the sector, the vehicle smarter, it means that we are going to make it safer also, we are going to make it sustainable also, we are going to make it more efficient. Quite obviously, again, the Ministry of Road Transport here is the custodian of the entire sector. We are the regulators in the road transport sector. We administer the Motor Vehicle Act, and hence that devolves on us that much of responsibility to ensure that we move forward at a fast pace and in the correct. You would know definitely that we brought in the Bharat New Car Assessment Program, for instance, wherein we are saying that voluntarily the vehicle OEMs need to come forward and rate their vehicles on a rating of 1 to 5 on the various parameters of safety, whether it's adult occupant protection, what the vehicle provides, the child occupant protection, or in general the safety features or the driver assist technologies that one talks about. What sort of transformative changes have come across, as I've mentioned. Coming back to looking at the drivers from the driver's point of view, again making the driver more comfortable, making the driver less weary while he or she is driving for hours on the road. Whether we are looking at assisting the driver for various safety features, we are all there are so many measures that we are coming for. So we have entrusted a committee, we have constituted a task force in the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Let me tell you that we decided to make Mr. R.S. Singh the chair of that task force. The members, cutting across the industry, the testing agencies, SIAM as a body, my directors, etc., are all members of the task force. And I think we are on the cusp of recommending to the government. It has multiple benefits, and I urge all of you to not look at one single subject as a compartment in itself. I have this very clear thought in my mind that any initiative we take on the safety front has implications on the smarter front, and any implications we take on the making the transport system more intelligent, it has implications on making it more sustainable also. So may I request Mr. R.S. Singh to give his initial address, wherever you are comfortable with.
Thank you, sir, and Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava, Ms. Dr. Shiv Kumarji for inviting me to be part of this panel, to be part of this very distinguished panel. A very good afternoon to all of you. There are safety concerns and as well as air pollution. And by implementing intelligent transport system using IoT, Internet of Things, and other emerging technologies, other emerging communication technologies like 4G, 5G, and in near future we will have 6G also, and other emerging technologies, we can mitigate these problems to a greatest extent. In future, after 3 or 4 meetings, basically as the mandate of the task force is not only for giving recommendation for allocation of 5.9 gigahertz, but it has also to give recommendation for the automotive industry standards and regulation. What should be the regulation and standards for developing and implementing intelligent transport system in the country, as well as giving recommendations on allocation or delicensing of other RF bands which will be used in the transport sector, or vehicle to infrastructure, or vehicle to even, I think, pedestrian also. It will have direct infrastructure, direct communication. No need of mobile network for V2V, V2I, and V2P. V2P maybe it will take some more time. Like the mobile handset manufacturers, OEMs have to incorporate the feature of 5.9 gigahertz. As far as VLTD device is concerned, we follow the AIS 140, which has been issued by MORTH, developed by ARA and issued by MORTH, as the technical specification for AIS 140 certification has to be taken, which is also mapped into BIS in the form of IS 16833. Every OEM has to conduct that test. But there is a difference, like AIS 140 and IS standards. It's not very much focused on the testing of interface or communication security. Ours covers everything. We have already issued some clarification that if EMI, EMC, safety and GNSS is covered, only you have to test the communication interface and the communication security part. Standards are not being followed. So there are issues related to interoperability. So our request will be that all the transportation, all the device managing platforms or IoT device managing platform, VLTD, or it may be in future the OBU and RSUs especially, RSU managing platform. This should be a very standard-based platform. It will be, and 1M2M has already been adopted as the national standards. So this was only my experience that since we are starting, we are at the very initial phase of developing this intelligent transport system. So we take care from the initial step that all the solutions, all the applications are developed on a very standard based platform or standard based perspective. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And they're putting their theories into practice. And I would like to, like Dr. Velu Murugan, to enlighten the entire audience of the kind of changes that they seek to bring about through these activities.
Thank you, sir. First of all, for the opportunity given by Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava and Dr. Shiv Kumar to be part of this August gathering. And first of all, I would like to thank the Additional Secretary as well to put forth my view perspective here. See, basically, I was thinking I'll just I'll give my viewpoints in a couple of ways. First, I'll start with that whatever Additional Secretary sir was told about that how we try to use it for the practical application. A simple ADAS, it's a solution which is available, which is generally put in any kind of high-end cars these days. But we have to keep in mind India has only around we monitored the situation before and after installation in these 200 buses, and with some buses which without ADAS. So that was also running because the Bharat stage 3 buses which are running in the city, wherein we couldn't put the system. So we took advantage of it to monitor the scenario with and without ADAS. So which gave a perspective of about 40% reduction in fatalities can be achieved. And that too we were able to, because buses run for the entire part, hook and corner of the city, and also it covers the major arterial and subarterial network. We were able to show its utility. In the case of Telangana highways, we tried to take it even a driver monitoring system, where 7 distinct drivers systems were monitored in terms of how the driver is feeling dozing off, or otherwise he is driving in single hand, or he is on mobile. So certain all those things were monitored. Our commercial vehicle like buses and trucks, because these are the things which are running for major part of our things, which has to be can be made mandatory. That is one thing I feel can be thought about. And the second point, as considering this particular session, I thought the connected vehicles, whether it is a EPC project or there is a BOT project, it is not covering all these aspects. Only the tolling aspect is getting covered, and also mandatory mundane installation. I would use the word mundane installation of some cameras only. Not actually we are trying to go into the in-depth of things. And in this regard, at least the pilot project which is done by ministry, vehicles can be enhanced to a very large extent. So these are my small viewpoints we can actually think about considering. Lastly, the GNS-based tolling system, which is a couple of corridors I am told it is done. So that can be one thing which we have to think about, which government is certainly thinking about it. These are my viewpoints, sir. Thank you.
So my concern starts with, in cybersecurity, I'll take very few points, is we try to reduce the cyber attack surface. That means number of inputs coming into a network. Our first attempt is to reduce the numbers and monitor each number through firewall, through various mechanisms. Here the situation is just reversing. This vehicle which is there, you want more and more interaction. This firmware also will have attack methodology. And being a defense officer, my thinking is what happens to defense vehicles? They will be flying, and in case of any emergency or national calamity, they will be going around. Should they integrate the V2X technology into it, or should not they? Because when V2X technology is there, their position is well known to the system and the network. If the network is penetrated, you have to develop electronic countermeasures in this vehicle from now. The government with the military has to come up with the standards of electronic countermeasures so that nobody should able to carry out a jamming in a physical format of these, especially the military or defense-based systems, and carry out different crashes and other things. At personal level, so that you can quickly repair it, because intelligent vehicles will, when we saw abruptly a pothole, how it's going to react, we still don't know. Because AI is going to take a decision, not we. And when AI, how is going to take a decision is not known. Thank you, sir. There are a lot of standards. We have to follow the standards.
I would like Dr. Puneet Rathod to speak about how he feels.
I had a couple of slides, so while they bring up, maybe I'll just start speaking so that we can be mindful of the time. One thing which you requested, which is very true, that from overall as a technology evolution point of view, we as Qualcomm had been part of traditionally a mobile phone company, and then now more and more verticals are getting into the 3GPP standards, be it satellite, broadcasting, public safety, and now automotive as well. And coming to automotive, CV2X is one of those technologies which the global, not just the cars themselves, but if we look at the different use cases itself, the use cases involve the road and the traffic signal informing the cars about a potential red light violation. It is the road themselves can also inform about construction ongoing and a lane closure. So the highway ATMS that you mentioned, potentially those could be the highway zones. They can, probably this is a slide from a different speaker, but all of them, they look at it from a safety spectrum. So there are ECC decisions which are followed by all the EU nations where they recognize this spectrum as a safety spectrum. So they do not assign a monetary value to it because the ECC decision acknowledges that this is to reduce fatalities. And that is the reason why this spectrum and the technologies that can utilize the spectrum, they are not for commercial, but they are for society good. Ensuring the messages can be trusted and authenticated so that a truck cannot announce itself to be a cycle or a cycle cannot announce itself to be a truck and things of that nature. And with this, I'll conclude and hope that we are able to adopt these technologies for improving safety.
And I'll take the analogy of human civilization. The more connected we became, the more protected we became, the more organized we became, the better system we became. So I think the journey will follow for the vehicles too. And as Sir has rightly said, we say one thing, that FASTag will remain, whether it is MLFF, which is now complemented with the ANPR camera, or the future, maybe the satellite technology also. We said that the FASTag will remain, and the payment system, the solid foundation we have made through NHI recently issued in October 2023 the ATMS policy, which is a surveillance plus AI based policy. And now ministry has given us the mandate that we have to implement it for the entire highway which is being tolled, around 20,000 kilometers. And that has been mandated as a part of road safety, given the, secondly, as Dr. Velu Murugan said, that we are also going ahead for the sectional speed, not only with the ATMS system, but the ministry has now, and the Transport Research Wing has also told that within the toll plazas, there should be a sectional speed. So if a person is reaching at a toll plaza before the allocated time, there should be a challan issued in the form of 167, under 167A of CMVR. There is a need of a backend, a centralized backend system in the form of PKI, because there, as Commander Mukesh also told, the more connections we have, the more vulnerable we will become. So that there is a uniformity and all the technologies can collate on it. So with this, sir, thank you so much. And I conclude my...
Thank you, Mr. Akhilesh, for giving women in transport an opportunity to speak, wherein I can easily track where my child is. So I failed to pick him up from the bus stop, and that worry drove me to start something for all working parents who can see the whereabouts of the kids. Onboarding top giant like Adani Group, Ultratech Cement, and many more Fortune 500 companies working now closely with B2G entirely in minds. So that's my overall journey as an entrepreneur. All the stakeholders in place providing a seamless structure. So I think this is a backbone of the industry, right from transportation to logistic to defense, which requires a high level of data privacy. Us as a company to integrate the entire structure from e-challan to driver validation. So all these structures are really helping big corporates to have. So basically, as we all know, there are two sorts of an OBU available. They could be a thick OBU and a thin OBU. And they have their own advantages and disadvantages altogether. So overall, there are a lot of advantages of a thick OBU. It depends from case to case, depending upon the operational utilization and the cost efficiencies as well of the OBUs. So we have to think what sort of an OBU we have to select so that we can carry out an overall seamless structure entirely. So it all depends upon the hybrid model. I think we can select a hybrid model of a structure wherein we can deploy the thick OBUs, wherein there is a infrastructure challenge, especially in mines or the remote areas, and thin OBUs can be utilized for the urban planning or for sustainability. Structure is very easy. If we tell them that we are not spying them, but we are trying to just build in a structure to help increase your performance by building a driver's scorecard or something, which could give them a performance incentive. I think that proved to be very good for us. Currently, we are having 60,000 plus fleets on our platform and 200,000 plus parents are using our structure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
First of all, I would like to thank ITS India for giving me opportunity to speak in front of you. So, I am MS Verma. Good afternoon, everyone. Having such delighted people and expert from industry, from academia, from research R&D organizations, we are not getting expert in our committees. It is also evident since morning that we are having lot of standards. And as we feel that without standard, no success story, it is very evident, knowingly or unknowingly, we are following standards every time, every moment of time at our homes, in organization. As a national standard, we look to the BIS. How many standards are developed by BIS? Whatever system it is, it can run, show should run, सबको काम करना है, अपना काम करते रहें, बट साथ ही साथ अपने नेशन को भी आगे बढ़ाने का कार्य करें. तो मैं ये ITS इंडिया फोरम से यही रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा, they are interacting with each element of this intelligent transport system, so they can identify the subjects, they can identify the experts working in this area. So it is also again reflecting a poor image. We are not enough competent to represent our role in international standardization. So हम सब कुछ होते हुए भी हम ये नहीं दिखा पा रहे हैं कि हम strong हैं. तो it's time, let's collaborate, we will go there, we will put our interest in international standards so that we may not need to develop another standard, we can use directly those standards. So thank you very much, thank you.
I was hoping the same question, so I'm prepared for that. Before I start talking, first of all, thank you ITS Forum for giving the opportunity to share my thoughts and giving the stage to talk about the initiatives of work I have been doing. So coming back to academia, coming back to India, I see there is a huge potential. So Mr. Verma at the end said, can we bring our standards to international level or can we use it? Of course we can, because if someone can do it, it's India. It was mentioned earlier in the day. Everyone here is our stakeholders, but there's also one more critical aspect of stakeholders. These are the next generation workforce, our students, people who are still not working, but they will be working in 1 year, 10 years, or 5 years. What are we doing for them? Are we training them? Are we incorporating next generation technologies in the education? Still, they do not know what transportation field can do, industry can do. So with that aim, I want to work with the entire industry related to ITS, related to smart vehicles, connected vehicles, to create a platform. The platform which will educate them, which will train them, and also help industry to co-develop such type of technologies working with the students. So with among the, let's say if it's at IIT Bombay, other professors from IIT Bombay, along with the relevant industry, so that a concept at a TRL level 9 or TRL level 0 or 1, technology readiness level 1, can see a daylight when it exits this R&D center at a TRL 9. If we can create such kind of an R&D center at a national level, where we know that, for example, if it is a sharp turn and it is a foggy area, that infrastructure-based sensor can sense that there is something hazardous. It can be a pothole, it can be a person or child crossing the road, and the upstream vehicle cannot see it, but the sensor can detect it, and instead of relying on the driver or the vehicle, the sensor can give a warning. It can be as simple as flashing light. And when the technology matures, V2X technology matures, that can communicate to the upstream vehicle and can be simply shake its... if we are able to create such kind of a national R&D center for connected autonomous vehicles, this automatically will become a global R&D center. So if we can join hands with academia, with industry, with policymakers, with all the competent authorities, we can work towards a common goal of developing such a global R&D center for CAVs. So this is my view.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a brilliant session, and we are really grateful to you for sparing your valuable time and chairing the session. With your insights and the thoughts which you gave, I think that's made the audience, since morning when we started, everybody was asking about you. Is sir coming? What is the time? So I said I have requested, but there are commitments which are much larger and critical. But I'm really grateful, and I'm sure everybody, just give a round of applause if everybody is. Thank you very much, sir. And during pilot, we could see it saved around 16 to 18 minutes, because from 500 meter distance, the junction could identify that the vehicle ambulance is approaching, and they turned the light automatically green. That stack was developed by CDAC here, and all the vehicles which are in front of the ambulance, they get passed till the time ambulance crosses the junction. It remains green. So at 4 junction, if we consider on an average 4 to 5 minute average time, we saved around 20 minutes, and that is of a golden hour, is very, very crucial. What we talk, and there is a disconnect on the ground, man. That person is not fully aware what is to be done. So we are capacity building as well, and very soon we'll be starting a course, but all layers, the bottom people and the supervisor level and the top CXO level, where they can publish. So I won't be taking much time. I am extremely thankful to you and the panelists over here. Everybody contributed.
I would like to invite Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava to felicitate Shri Mahmood Ahmed, Additional Secretary, MORTH, Government of India. Thank you to our esteemed panelists for an insightful discussion. Okay. Now we would like to move up. We have an engaging fireside chat on how can technology improve the quality of life, featuring Mr. Jim Meissner, Senior Director at Qualcomm, and Shri Akhilesh Srivastava, President of ITS India Forum.
how things are happening, or what are the roadmap India is trying to build towards the connected vehicle technologies and all.
Yes.
So if I ask you a few questions on this,
Sure.
on the side of it. First, how would you map transportation technology to quality of life? Broad question first, and then we'll drill down and ask a few more questions.
Well, and I was inspired by some of the dialogue a little beforehand, where the good of India was brought up. And this is economic well-being. It's about reduced crashes, reduced fatalities. It's about environmental stewardship. But when we think of quality of life, there's another component which is important as well, because we're talking about individual travelers, the citizens of India. And that is a different axis, and it should be measured as well, because you will have shorter travel times, predictable travel times, better air quality with the advent of technology, a safer road to travel on, no matter what mode you take, whether you're a pedestrian, a bicyclist, or a car driver. And there's also the economic benefit, which manifests itself in society, but it benefits the individual citizenry, the road user, and actually someone who depends on the road to get the goods and services. So technology itself, this idea of heterogeneous connectivity, this idea of applying AI at the edge, the types of technologies that we're on the cusp of, and I believe that we're on the cusp of deploying in India, will greatly enhance productivity, but importantly, it will enhance the comfort and convenience of ordinary Indians.
Yeah, you're right. Technology is, people in the morning were talking, it is the most democratic way, and it's the best way quickly reach to the people, and it's a
It is. Yeah, but you index on what I talk about a lot, which is CV2X, which is a democratic way of addressing safety.
Correct.
But you know, there are other technologies. So you can view this as having a toolbox of technology, and some tools are good for some things and some are the other, but the toolbox in total can fix things and improve the quality of life.
Yeah, thanks. So taking this forward, what innovation do you see or foresee that contribute to that? And I mean, I would like to listen to your things about the CV2X or GNSS, more contextual what we are discussing today.
Oh, some of the very specific instances, obviously, you know, I came here to talk mostly about CV2X, but obviously we can talk about much more. I know that GNSS tolling is part of that. And it offers convenience to the driver because you don't have to go through toll booths. It offers basically a guaranteed revenue stream for the road operator, so those are all good. But, and I just briefly mentioned it, it's worth belaboring again. AI was mentioned earlier as a threat, but it's also a huge opportunity, because you can have actionable insight from data that's collected through the surveillance or camera systems we have, to the ATMS. And so what we at Qualcomm think about a lot is AI at the edge, how you do edge inferencing, so it doesn't have to all go to the center or in a big expensive cloud, but there are lots of ways that we can instantiate technology very specifically that in some add to quality.
Oh, thank you. Jim, since morning we are discussing that there are different compartments, there are different systems. So how do you think it is fits into a system? And specifically when we talk about CV2X, are the ecosystem aligned? Are we, it is fitting into the system, or some isolators which need to be addressed specifically?
Oh, I hear you. And so it just goes thematically into what we've just been talking about the last few minutes, is that, again, the toolbox analogy. CV2X is a hammer. The world is not a bunch of nails. So in a system context, things that add to quality, what we talked about just moments ago, GNSS tolling, when you add that to CV2X, when you add AI and inferencing, all of a sudden you start to have a system effect. Because what you do is not only do you have information, you have actions, and actions for both the traveler who needs quality, but also to the road operator who needs to manage it, serve the people, and provide basically a system solution to transportation.
Yeah. So what other use cases of CV2X can be? For example, say if I link with the GNSS-based tolling, or safety, security at the, somebody was in the morning, I think your presentation said about the intersections. at the intersection. It's a direct use case. Could you highlight a little more?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Coming here on Uber, I noticed that there's probably a need for forward collision warning, but forward collision warning in a very specific India context, right? So it would have to be tuned to local driving. A lane departure warning, same thing. But again, those are safety, and we focus on safety for CV2X. But remember, I talked about CV2X in various incarnations, and one is through the network. It would be good to know in near real time, maybe 2 intersections ahead, that there's an incident. So this type of connectivity is going to be pretty important too as a solution, in addition to the very safety use cases. Basically, if you have long range and short range communication, new cars, you have telematics devices, or you can buy aftermarket, you can start to get an idea of, you can start getting that flow. The telematics device need not just be your handset. It should be something that's tuned to the car. GNSS, for example, is something that could be put on the car or the truck in this case. So again, there are a whole bunch of technologies that will yield interesting and important use cases both for the road operator and the road user.
So you mean to say this is the era of connected vehicles, whether you use it for tolling purpose, use it for parking purpose, lane departure,
electronic transactions, you
everything.
start to move things up a little bit a higher plane, right? What are you doing in tolling? You're doing an electronic transaction. Well, maybe you can use it to get food. We can start thinking expansively and try to have multiple purposes for the same types of technologies.
Yeah, thanks. One last question, Jim. I think this was boggling everybody's mind since morning, and there was a discussion regarding the security. So how do you see, since you are an expert in it, you have seen it?
Well, I heard some really good thoughts today. So I heard someone talk about security services and authenticating the user. Because, you know, we, in a network, the network knows who you are, so that's a symmetric security. But there's an asymmetric, because you have to understand a strange car. And there were some really good expressions. And actually, security by design for V2X has been a mantra and an instantiation for the last 20 years. So there are very mature, globally even approach to how you do security services. But also I heard a very interesting discussion today about security in the car too. So the complement of that, and you know, I tend to talk in alphanumeric sequences, so there's something called ISO 21434. So what is that? That's a standard on cybersecurity engineering. So that's already being done by Indian automakers. And by the way, Indian automakers are very, very sophisticated. They're world-class. India exports cars. And so that standard is being adhered to. So that's a process standard. So when you combine the two, the over-the-air security and implementation of the standard, you don't have a complete safeguard. The perpetrator is very sophisticated, but at least you have best practices to do the best world-class type of security services for connected vehicles. So important topic. I mentioned the standard. I don't want to read the standard to you, but the point is to implement global standards, and I heard India could be on the vanguard in creating some standards as well. Both those are fine, but take security very seriously, and we have for years with CV2X.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And this is your last word was follow the standards when we are going to implement it. That's the only solution to this, because considering the sheer volume, the millions of IoT devices in all the vehicles communicating continuously, that was one of the concerns people had. But the best is follow the standards, follow the protocols, and that can be.
And have a good quality of life.
Thank you very much, Jim. Thanks. And it was wonderful to hear you, and you are heading the 5GA. I'm sure.
I'm on the board. I'm not heading it. But by the way, I'm on the board of ITS America too. So very happy to extend the helping and friendly hand, and also to be helped by this group.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Akhilesh. Now we'll start with the solo presentations in this series. The first, I'll request Mr. Devashish Dev Shikdar. Now we'll start with the solo presentations in this series. The first, I'll request Mr. Devashish Dev Shikdar.
Really appreciate, and I think due to some urgent meeting in the morning, I could not really join.
if you want, suppose another way.
I think I was supposed to talk on this particular topic. People have already spoken about it. I don't want to repeat and go through it again, in fact. Had been a wonderful session with a lot of distinguished leaders, dignitaries were also being there, and my good industry colleagues. I think it's see, for me, what I really observed today is, while we all are talking about how the progression is happening, what individuals are doing, I think it's a great impetus on every entity, right from the government, right from the enterprise, and from the institution. We have heard about professors talking, institutions coming down together to make it happen. While we are doing this journey, we need to have our wheels properly inflated, right? If it is not inflated, we will fall down. So we also need to pump this jump journey. And what is this pump is? We really want the government to really engage into it and to drive the policy. So it is the policy for the unifying mobility platform, right? So that's what is pump is. So right from, to make the jump, pump is very important. And eventually, we will land into bump, that is Bharat unifying mobility platform. The smart fleet management, we address the EV platform management, having our own EV chargers. We have our own battery management platform, and we have a swappable battery management platform over there. And on the devices side, we have a AI-driven, the connected devices platform on which we are working. We are working very closely with the automotive industry. And we are also looking into the legacy automobiles. How do we can really connect and make them intelligent about it? So this is a unifying mobility platform. We are already onto it, but we are not addressing the whole aspect. I think with this particular forum, we really need to define the, the mobility platform or the unifying mobility platform, where we really look into who all are the users, right? Because the stakeholders are huge. I think with this, I conclude my speech, but I really want to leave a thought with the entire, this enlightened people who are present today in the meeting. I just wanted to thank you all, and I would like to, end my presentation here, in fact. If there is any question, more than happy to answer off the stage, but thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Akhilesh. Thank you, Dr. Shiv, for giving this opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, sir. What an incredible presentation that was. Coming up next, I would like to invite Aisen on the stage for their presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much, Akhilesh-san. And it's been an incredible time today, and especially with all the policy makers and the think tank makers here on the same stage. I think there was an incredible amount of energy that you've been put on to pull in all the people on the stage here. And firstly, let me introduce myself. I am Chaitanya, and I head the advanced technology development in India. So we are a tier 1 auto component maker and a part of Toyota Group. And in fact, we are the users of all the technologies that is being talked about here. So I just wanted to have a short introduction, a video that is more interactive so that everyone can apprise of what exactly Aisen is.
The Aisen Group has played a crucial role in the expansion of the automotive industry and has grown to become a global supplier. As the world is changing significantly, in a bid to transform themselves, Aisen Seiki and Aisen AW, the cores of the group, merged their business operations, making a new start as Aisen Corporation. We offer a wide range of products as a vehicle dynamic system partner, supporting vehicle driving, turning, stopping, and comfort. Inspiring movement, creating tomorrow. We will deliver surprise, happiness, and inspiration that stir people's emotions beyond conventional concepts and methods of movement. Through environmentally friendly business, we will create new value to pass on the beautiful Earth to the future. Toward achieving a sustainable society, Aishin continues to make progress as a solution company that solves challenges facing society. Aiming to curb global warming, we contribute to reducing CO2 emissions through automotive electrification. Starting to work on automotive electrification early on, we widely develop and supply hybrid transmission, e-axle, and other electric drive units. Also, we broadly supply various products for electrified vehicles, including heat management and cooperative regenerative brakes that maximize the performance of electrified vehicles. Aiming to achieve a carbon-free society, we promote conversion to clean energy. We develop Enefarm and other highly efficient and clean energy-related products and help to popularize them. Aiming to optimize energy supply, we are working to develop systems that can utilize Enefarm units bundled by IoT using the virtual power plant system. Aiming for zero load on the global environment. Promoting efforts to reduce CO2 emissions in production activities. We aim to eliminate CO2 emissions in production activities for all products. Also, we help to create a recycling-oriented society by promoting sustainable industrialization, including an increase of clean energy plants. Aiming to achieve zero fatal traffic accidents, we strive to achieve a safe, secure, and comfortable vehicle society. We aim to achieve zero fatal traffic accidents by combining sensors, cameras, and other products that enable advanced control of driving, turning, and stopping in the driving phase, comprising recognition, judgment, and execution to improve the security of vehicles. For a diversifying mobility society, we provide comfortable movement for all people. For the growing mass market, we develop systems that enable anyone to get in and out of a car safely and comfortably, and provide reassurance in a moving vehicle. We offer a shared shuttle bus service using location-based information technology for areas that are aging and lack traffic facilities. As a foundation that supports our business activities, we strive to create a working environment where a diverse range of employees around the world can make the best possible use of their individual abilities and work healthfully with peace of mind by promoting diversity and inclusion and work-life balance.
Thank you, gentlemen. Which can drive the auto industry in future. So what we have identified as specific to India, I think India presently holds 18% of the world's population. And though we hold 18%, we hardly have only 30 number of passenger vehicles out of 1,000 of the population. So we have understood that there is immense potential in Indian industry, and especially to reduce on the accidents and fatalities, where collaborations that we have already engaged with ITS Forum. So Mr. Akhilesh was forefronting these particular areas of engagement, especially with the industry partners like ISIN, so that we collaborate and jointly develop some proof of concept so that we can apprise the government so that the need of the technology is there in India. So looking forward for a very fruitful collaboration, and thank you very much for the opportunity given.
For such an insightful and well-executed presentation. Following that, I would like to invite Metro Emphasis to come up to the stage and present.
Hi everyone, I am Sachin Bhatia, founder and CEO of Metro Emphasis. So Green Light Optimum Speed Assistance is a technology wherein the car gets the status of the green light ahead of it, and it computes the speed at which it should travel so that it gets a green light. So if the cars start moving at the optimum speed, in this case, the cars are moved according to the traffic. So I'll share with you also some use cases of this. This has been implemented in 90 cities. So there is a real-time connectivity between the car and the traffic light, and on the cloud, the application gets the data from the car on its speed. So on the formula of speed is equal to distance by time. And Audi's, all models in the US have this enabled in about 90 cities. It's a very simple application of cloud and connectivity and GPS movement of the vehicle. This is a standard feature in all Audi vehicles in the US market. 90 US cities are enabled with this technology. This technology is also being supplied to Lamborghini and Bentley. So we are in dialogue with some of the automobile companies to do a pilot of this in India, and we are planning to do the pilot in Bangalore, the GPS which is there standard fitted in every vehicle these days. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I would now like to call Dr. B. M. Baweja, former Group Coordinator, Ministry of Electronics and IT, and also the advisor to IIT Hyderabad, the Han Center, to present.
So we have recently come to know that India's digital economy through ICT, e-governance, telecom, electronic technologies are expected to grow almost twice as fast as the overall economy. Similarly, the ITS sector is going to grow at a very fast pace in the next 5 years or so. My presentation basically today is on I'm the group coordinator and the senior director from Ministry of Electronics IT. I superannuated in 16 December, and thereon I was advising the ministry and their societies. Is a Section 8 company which is at IIT Hyderabad, and it is funded by the DST National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber-Physical Systems. The DST Tehan IIT Hyderabad focuses on the autonomous navigation and data analytics, and the missions are primarily to have real-time autonomous navigation and data acquisition systems created in this center and across the country. Number 2, to define standard operating procedures on the autonomous. Then it has a mission to develop autonomous transportation systems, aerial, terrestrial and surface, through various institutions across the country by providing the finances to academia, industry and startups. The activities are primarily defined here. They are on the research, technology development, industry collaboration, innovation. I move on to the next slide, which is the research areas we are tackling at the moment are on communication and networking, real-time edge computing, security, safety testing and validation, system sensors and control, AI and ML, design, simulators, virtual physical dummies, and the entrepreneurship management and business studies in the autonomous navigation systems. The technology development through validation before going for real field deployment can be done on this test bed. Facilities include various items which you can see on the screen. The various services for autonomous navigation related to the R&D, the homologation, regulatory framework will be done through the test bed, and the test bed will be provided on a pricing model. Before this, I can't see that. It was on the connected vehicles, the 5G CV2X at the Tehan test bed. That I can't see that slide, but my colleagues from CDAC will give a detailed presentation on the CV2X technologies. Tehan has created a consortia for future mobility innovations. The purpose will be to put together various organizations, academia in the field of cyber-physical system on one platform to enable easy update or modification of assets, functionalities within the system, aerial and ground platforms, command control and communication equipment, sensors, payloads, and algorithms. It will create a platform for networking and collaboration between industry leaders, researchers, and policy makers. The benefits, of course, will be access to the testbed facility, special interest groups for specific verticals, collaboration and networking opportunities, joint projects, and partnerships. So I close the presentation by saying that this Tehan Center is the destination for next generation mobility solutions. It is a platform for collaborative research between academia, industry, R&D labs, and both national and international. You can visit the website, which is here. And thank you very much for listening to the presentation. I'm grateful once again to ITS Forum for inviting me. Thanks a lot.
May I now request Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava to give away the membership certificate?
I would like to announce that for this year, Mr. Vijay Kumar, who is the CEO of the Northern, he has been elected as a Vice President of the ITS India. And he is the first Vice President to be elected.
Next in line, we have CDAC to present their views. Can we please have you on stage?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Shrikant from CDAC, Hyderabad. I think I'll give a brief presentation of the activities what we have done as part of connected vehicles, because it's a long journey what we had as part of CDAC. We have been working from last 12 years in this component of connected vehicles. I think let me start off with the presentation. Yeah. I think around 4 projects we have executed as part of this connected vehicles initiative from the ministry. So the first project what I'm going to talk about is something called Saver, which is completely based on DSRC, the dedicated short range communication, what we have executed. So that was at that point of time funded by CCVT, I think, which was headed by Baveja sir at that point of time. Under his vision, we were able to execute this project which was called Saver. So the first project what we have executed as part of this connected vehicle, we call it as Saver. So under this project, what we have done is we were given a mandate that instead of starting our own, let's take up the off-the-shelf hardware and the stack and develop some applications for our country and do the testing of the parameters like latency, range, and all those things. So under this project, we have taken up some hardware, the onboard unit and the roadside unit from Arada systems at that point of time, and we were able to develop a lot of applications, something like the speed limit, which is under the V2V, vehicle to vehicle, and speed limit, roadside alerts. So under this project, we were able to deploy very near to our office. There is a highway, which is Srisalam highway. We were able to deploy some 5 RSUs and 4 OBUs, and we were able to test this concept of DSRC under this connected vehicle concept. So we had a lot of issues there. What we could see is the range and all were very limited if we take up DSRC, because the range we could get around 550 meters. At the max, 350 meters was consistent with DSRC. And apart from that, the radio latency was well within the limit, that is less than 100 milliseconds. So next, going to the project which we call it as Prove project. This was funded by Tehan IITH. This is a project under NMICPS DST. So the thing is, under this, we were able to develop the complete CV2X onboard unit and the CV2X roadside unit. And this is the RSU and this is the OBU, which you are looking at. And we have put up for a demo outside also. You can have a look at them. And the complete stack is built on IEEE. And we were able to achieve some of the applications. So the complete performance analysis we were able to do. So the question was which technology to be chosen, whether it's DSRC or CV2X. So we had a complete comparison. The developed hardware on DSRC, the developed hardware on CV2X, the onboard units and the roadside units, we were able to test in the real field conditions, one very near to our campus. And we have a GMR Aero City, where we had a very big track where up to 2 kilometers where we can test our things. And apart from that, Tehan IITH also has a test track, so where we have deployed our solutions and tested. So we could see that CV2X has outperformed DSRC in all the use cases. And the next component I would say is, I think from morning we have seen a lot of things we're talking about security and all. But the thing is, what about automotive security? If whenever automotive IoT device come into picture, what are the security components? So IEEE and ETSI has come out with their own standards for security certificates, because generally X509 is the one which is generally followed in a lot of cases for certification. But when you look at automotive, IEEE and ETSA has come out with the different standards. So that is what we are planning to build up, and we are planning to completely build up the intermediate CA component and automotive for technology transfer, because at CDAC we generally go for a TOT concept. So any interested companies can take up these components, and these we are ready with the connected vehicles. Okay, this is what from my side. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you, sir, for this powerful presentation. Proceeding with the next presentation, I would like to call upon Dan Law.
First of all, I would like to thank the ITS India for giving me an opportunity to speak, mainly Dr. Shiv and Akhilesh Srivastava. So, just a brief introduction about myself. I am the technical director at Dunlop Technologies, working on the V2X. So, I come with more on the aerospace and as well as the automotive background. So, basically, this slide shows the fatalities mainly in India. So, the figure 1 basically shows the percentage of accidents from 2005 to all the way till 2021. So we see a fluctuations in the accidents, and mostly the fluctuations is a positive trend. And the figure 2 shows basically the reason for accidents that are happening within the India. So for example, the hit and run case, hit from the back, run on the road, fixed objects. So basically this is on the V2X part. So I think the whole session was mainly on the V2X, explaining what is V2X, and vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to infrastructure communication. So basically I don't want to talk more about the V2X, because it's not what we envision is not only it is restricted to vehicle infrastructure, but it is a kind of a multimodal transport where vehicle can talk to train, train can talk to ship. So this is a multimodal transport technology which is going to evolve in future. So I'm basically from the aerospace background, and I'm just trying to compare the automotive technologies, what is there currently, with the aerospace industries, what we have worked a couple of years back. There are mainly 2 technologies in the aerospace. One is TCAS, which stands for Traffic Collision and Avoidance System. The another is ADSB, which is Automatic Dependent and Surveillance Broadcast. It is similar to the V2X, and the only difference is the V2X operates in the 5.9 gigahertz, and the ADSB operates in the around 978 megahertz or so. So this is basically the ecosystem of the V2X. So I don't want to spend more time here. The ecosystem consists of the vehicle, so where the onboard unit is fitted. You have a roadside unit which talks to the vehicle, and there is a cellular tower, and on the back end you have a cloud. So basically the vehicle to vehicle communication can happen using the PC5 interface, and vehicle to infrastructure communication can happen also on the PC5 interface. For long range communication, we can still use the UU. So PC5 plus UU can give you a long range communication as a part of the V2X technology. So just wanted to give a perception of, because we get a lot of question about the difference between the ADAS and V2X. The figure 1 basically shows the ADAS perspective, where it is a line of sight. So ADAS can see only the line of sight picture, and the V2X can see the 360-degree view, because each vehicle is trying to broadcast its location. So from the host vehicle point of view, so it is able to see a 360-degree view. So going further, we may not be talking about V2X and ADAS separately. The single set of applications may exist, and there will be a fusion of the ADAS sensors with the V2X sensors to achieve a high perception. So this is basically on, again, the day 1 use case, the day 1 use case where the camera is interfaced to the RSU. So RSU gets the object and sends it to the OBU, and the warning is presented on the host vehicle. So this is a day 1 use case. We call it as day 1 because the driver gets the information about the ongoing activities. So it's just a warning. So here the OBU is able to get the location of the pedestrian and is able to stop the vehicle. So coming to the Bangalore Green Corridor project, so this is the proof of concept, so initiated by ITS India. So where the Mahindras, we are using the Mahindra vehicle as an emergency vehicle. So the Dunlop's onboard unit is fitted into the vehicle, and we have a CDAC traffic controller, mainly the Arcadis, it is a TOT to the Arcadis. So where we are trying to integrate the Dunlop's RSU with the Arcadis traffic controller. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you a video. It's an actual video taken in the Bangalore. So we have mounted or installed 4 RSUs in the complete corridor, starting from the Netkalapa circle to all the way till Pai-wise Rise Junction. It's a straight corridor where the RSUs are mounted on the traffic pole and interface to the traffic signal. So this is the live video. It's a recorded video, obviously. So it is on that Netkalapa circle near Banishankari, where if you look at the other screen side, please keep watching that. It still has not come into the V2X range. Once it comes into the V2X range, so it will send out a preemption request. And there is a accepted, denied, or sent. So those things will get highlighted accordingly. And this is not, but it's the last slide basically talking about the global vision on the road safety. So most of the countries like US, Europe, Japan, all have the zero traffic fatalities as a vision. And from the India perspective, we also have a zero vision, reduce road fatalities zero. And definitely as a Dunlop Technologies, so we'll assure you that we'll support in this initiative, sir. Thank you. Thank you for all this.
Thank you, sir, for your enriching words. May I now call Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava and Dr. Shiv Kumar to give away the membership certificates.
It's a high time to put the vote of thanks. First of all, you deserve the vote of thanks. All of you, you have really, because of you, this program had been. So, the day was flooded with a lot of information. And I believe all of you like the contents, the presentation, the way the talks were or the panels were structured. We have tried our best to bring the best of the experts and the government, policymakers, industry, everyone to these sessions. The chief guest and Jim Messner has also, we have signed an MOU with the 5GA. Today the events, it was a mix of the technical and we signed 3 basically events were there. One is the 5GA, we signed the MOU with the EODB, Ease of Doing Business. Then we have launched we signed earlier the MOU with the SARC University. We had a collaboration, but we have to do the lot of homework, and after doing our homework, now we have launched this, basically the entity, which is a center of experience, basically we are trying to build up. So that has been launched. Thank you, sir, in spite of your the health, you have been since morning, you have been sitting and you have been blessing us. Thank you very much, sir. Puran Pandey, sir. Then Mr. Bharat Bhatia, who is basically president of the ITU, International Telecommunication Union, and the APT, Asia Pacific. He has given a nice talks, and he has extended the collaboration. Then we have Mr. Madhusudan Joshi, head of the technology and business, ICAT. Thank you, sir. Then Ajay Mishra, who is resident commissioner of the Uttarakhand government and the secretary expert committee on UCC. He spent quite good time, and thank you, Ajay sir, for coming and making contributing to our program to making it successful. A.R. Chitranshi, chief operating officer. Then Mr. R.S. Singh from DDG. Dr. Puneet Rathod from Qualcomm. Professor Archak Mittal from the IIT Mumbai. He's an industry person, then converted to the professor. Thank you, sir. Mitra Sen Verma from the Bureau of Indian Standards. Then Commander Mukesh Saini, the former National Information Security. He made it a day, he brought the very good point. It was a good learning for all of us. Highly appreciated by even Mahmood sir. Then Pooja Kemka, the CA, Chartered Accountant. She told the story that, how she has converted from the Chartered Accountant to an entrepreneur. Thank you, Pooja ji. So, and all the partners, our members who have been supporting us, because of their support, we are able to basically come up, and in a 1 year, you might have seen, all of you might have got our activity report or annual report. If you might gone through, you might have seen that, that in a year, what we have achieved. Milestone, number one after the other, we are achieving the milestone. We are very passionate people here in the leadership of Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava. So we are, and we have a very, it's just the beginning. We have a lot of responsibilities, we have a lot of mission and roadmap ahead. And we will be soon starting the awards for the, the performers, the best performers. And in the 2025 itself, we will do the awards. We will do the skill development capacity building program. Soon we are coming up with that program. A lot of things are there, though it takes time, and support from the friends like all of you.